You walk down into the cellar in November to fetch a jar of last summer's tomatoes, and you stop at the bottom of the steps. The shelves are full. Jars of green beans put up in August, a crock of sauerkraut working through its second month, sacks of potatoes and onions in the wooden bins. And along the far wall, the deeper shelves, the long ones, lined with buckets and clean glass jars of dry food. The food that does not spoil because it was never meant to spoil. The salt that has not aged a day since it was pulled from the earth. The honey that would still be good if your great-great-grandchildren found it on the shelf 100 years from now. The rice in the sealed bucket that will be safe to eat in 25 years. Now the grocery store sells you food with a date stamped on the side that tells you to throw it out in a year, 2 at the most. And the store is not lying to you. The soft factory cans and the thin paper labels and the modern shelf life, that food really does have a short life. But the food careful folks have kept for centuries, the salt and the honey and the wheat and the dried beans, that food does not expire. It outlasts the family that stored it. Some of it has been found good to eat after 3,000 years in the tombs of Egypt. That is not a tale I am spinning for you. That is the plain historical record. Now I want you to sit with this. There is no mystery to a full cellar. There never was. Every careful farm family in this country kept a deep pantry before the grocery store became the kitchen most folks now live out of. And a deep pantry is the simple difference between a family that eats no matter what happens to the weather, the roads, or the trucks, and a family that does not. I am Earl Dean. Today I am going to walk you through 13 foods that, stored right, never spoil. Sit with me a while. One thing before I begin. The old methods I share here, there is far more of it than fits in any one video. So I gathered the whole of it into a book at my website, earldeanbook.com, for the folks who want the long version. 99 methods, all in one place. I will not mention it again. If you want it, you know where to look. Now, the 13. I will take these 3 together because they share the same gift. They are so steady, so chemically settled, that none of them will ever spoil if you keep them dry. These are the 3 kings of the pantry, and every deep pantry begins with them. Salt is a pure mineral, and folks have used it to keep food for at least 8,000 years. The salt mined 50 years ago and the salt mined this morning are the very same thing, and both are exactly as good as the salt the Romans rubbed into their meat. Salt does not break down. Kept dry, in a jar or a bucket or even the cardboard box it came in, a bag of plain salt will serve your grandchildren and theirs after them. Its only enemy is damp, which makes it clump. And clumped salt is still good salt. Break it up and use it. A 50-pound bag at the feed store runs about $10 or $12, and that is years of salt for a family. Sugar is much the same. Kept dry in a sealed container, it does not spoil. It may harden over the years, and hard sugar is still good sugar. Break it up, use it. But here is one thing you must know, and it runs against what you would guess. Do not put an oxygen absorber in with your sugar. I will explain those absorbers later, but with sugar, they pull it into one solid brick you could not break with a hammer. Sugar wants only a clean, dry, sealed jar, nothing more. And honey. Honey is the oldest kept food we know of. The honey found sealed in those Egyptian tombs, 3,000 years old, was tested and found still safe to eat. The reason is plain. Honey holds almost no water, it is nearly all sugar, and it is naturally a little acid, and so there is simply nothing in it for spoilage to live on. Honey will harden and turn to crystal over time, sometimes within months, and good folks throw it out thinking it has gone off. It has not. Set the jar in a pan of warm water for 10 minutes, and it melts right back to gold. Same honey, same century. Still good. Buy these 3 in bulk when you can. Store them dry. And never, ever throw them out. Whether it is the canned chicken or beef or fish from the store, or the meat you put up yourself after the fall butchering, it lasts far beyond the date stamped on the can. That date is the maker's promise of best flavor, not the day it turns. A properly sealed can, kept cool, is good to eat 10, 15, 20 years on, and often longer. The reason is the canning itself. Sealed hot, the can holds no living germ and no air, and what cannot get in cannot spoil it. Now here is the one safety word I will not skip, because it matters more than anything else I will say today. A can that bulges, that hisses or spurts when you open it, that smells sour or rotten, or that is dented hard along its seam, that can is a danger. There is a poison called botulism that can grow in a damaged or badly sealed can, and it is genuinely deadly, and you cannot always see or smell it. So the rule is simple, and it is not optional. If a can bulges, hisses, smells wrong, or looks wrong inside, you throw it out. You do not taste it to check. The cost of one can is nothing. The cost of being wrong is your life. With that minded, sealed canned meat is one of the steadiest proteins a pantry can hold. White rice is one of the most studied keeping foods there is, and the answer is clear. White rice, sealed away from oxygen and kept cool, lasts 25 to 30 years with no real loss. The folks at the University Extension and a long study at one of the colleges both bear that out. The secret is that it has no oil in it. Brown rice keeps its oily outer bran, and that bran goes rancid in just a few years. White rice has had that milled away, and what is left is dry starch, near no moisture, near no oil, steady as can be. Keep it cool and dark, and a bucket of white rice will feed your family safe in 25 years. Brown rice is for eating soon. White rice is for keeping. Dried pasta is white rice's close cousin on the deep shelf. 20 to 30 years, sealed away from air. The reason is the same. It is dry wheat, low in fat, settled and stable once it is formed and dried. The spaghetti, the macaroni, all of it keeps the same way. The one exception is egg noodles, for the egg in them shortens their life to 5 or 10 years, though they stay safe past that. Pair a bucket of pasta with your put-up tomatoes and your herbs, and a family eats well from the deep shelves alone. Beans are the protein backbone of every old keeping pantry in human history. Pinto, navy, black, kidney, all of them. Sealed and cool, they last 25 to 30 years. One honest word about old beans, though. The older they get, the longer they take to cook soft. A bean that simmered tender in 2 hours when it was new may want 4 or 5 hours after 10 years on the shelf. It is still good, it is still safe, it just wants patience. Soak it overnight, longer than usual, and it softens back up. A 50-pound bag runs $40 or $50 and holds hundreds of servings of protein. That is feeding a family a long while. Same as the canned meat, the store cans and your own put-up jars both last well past the printed date, often 5 to 15 years on, if the seal holds. And the same safety word holds with them, every bit as firm. A bulging, hissing, off-smelling, or moldy jar or can goes in the trash, no taste test, no second thought. Botulism does not care whether it is meat or beans, but a good jar of tomatoes from the garden, sealed right and kept in the cool cellar, is bright and good years later. We have all eaten from jars put up 3 and 4 years back and been glad of them. Every home has its leaks. The pantry is one of them, the food that spoils because nobody kept it right. But there is also the heat slipping out the cracks, the water, the electric bill, the things that break and get bought twice. In my savings manual, I walk you through finding and fixing every one of them, 99 methods, the old way, with your own 2 hands. The link is down in the description. Now, the final 5. The old-fashioned rolled oats, the kind you cook on the stove, not the instant, keep 20 to 30 years sealed away from air. And oats are about the best dollar for the belly that a pantry holds. High in fiber, low in fat, and they turn their hand to anything. Breakfast, bread, a binder in the meatloaf, ground coarse for a cookie. A bucket runs about $25 and holds 30 pounds. Few things on this list earn their shelf space better. The non-fat dry milk powder keeps about 20 years, sealed and cool. Now I will tell you plain, it does not taste like fresh milk poured cold from the jug. It is thinner, a touch sweeter. But for cooking and baking, the pancakes, the biscuits, the gravy, the cocoa, it does the very same work as fresh, and you would never know the difference. For drinking, mix it the night before and let it chill cold, and it goes down far easier. For a family with children, this is one of the more important things to have laid by. Here is one most folks never think of. Wheat berries are the whole kernels of wheat before they are ever ground to flour. Kept sealed and cool, they last 25 to 30 years. And here is the thing worth understanding. Store-bought flour has a date of about a year on it, because the moment you grind the kernel, you break open the oily germ inside and it starts to go rancid. But leave the kernel whole, with its hull still wrapping that oil away from the air, and it waits a quarter century for you. The catch is, you need a way to grind it. A hand-crank grinder runs about $100 and lasts a lifetime. You grind enough for the week's baking.